new topic in unit number 2, and I am going to finish this unit also. Only one topic or one or two topics are left beside this. So one of the topic is ER diagrams. Hope you have already studied in the DBMS, database management system. And if
Oh,
no, then I will continue
yes,
this.
sir.
No problem. I am not skipping this. So just you may have the basic knowledge regarding the entity relationship diagrams. So ER diagrams actually modeling is a data modeling method. So it is based on the database. Okay, used in software engineering. So it is also used in the software engineering because whenever we implement any project, then there is a need arise to interface with the backend and front end. So on the front end, we use some languages and design our software, and after that we interface our software with the backend, and on the backend we also use some suppose Visual Basic or SQL, structured query language, so that we can store our data and retrieve as per requirement. Okay, so ER modeling is a data modeling method used in software engineering to produce a conceptual data model. So whenever we are going to work, then we concentrate on the architecture of the design of particular software. Then it is called the conceptual data model because we study about the internal concept of the software design, and we can say it is related to the information system. So this is called the data model of an information system. This is called the ER modeling. Okay, and for the modeling purpose, we use different type of database management languages. Now, what is the purpose of the ERD? We can say entity relationship diagram. The database analyst gains a better understanding of the data to be contained in the database. So we have the database in which we have the collection of the data, and with the help of the ERD, we can construct a number of steps. So the ERD serves as a documentation tool. So it is also called the documentation tool because whenever we want to uh, save our data or retrieve our data or want to make a query, then with the help of the ERD, we can also settle a number of queries with the help of using the SQL language or some other database languages. So ERD is used to connect the logical structure of the database. Okay, so it connects the logical structure, whether it is we are working on the right phase or not, and we can say a number of users are connected with the database. Then first we implement the ERD, that is the entity relationship diagram. And as the name suggests, entity relationship, so we must be aware what is the entity and what is the, we can say, different attributes and how we can uh, connect those attributes to each other, means it is called the relation. Okay, suppose we are going to connect several entities, then it is called the relationship. Then how will we create the relation? Then we can study in this ERD, entity relationship diagram. So first I will define what is the entity and what are the different attributes and how we can create the relationship, okay, among the various entities. Now here you can see in this diagram, these are the different components of an ER diagram. So just see here, number 1, 2, 3, we are nomenclaturing here. Just first is called the entity, second attributes, and then relationships. So how we are going to create the relation between the attribute and entity. Okay. So an entity can be a real world object. So there are number of objects uh, exist in this real world. Then it is defined as the entity. Okay. An entity is denoted as a rectangular. So whenever we are going to draw any ER diagram, okay, ER diagram for a particular problem based on the database, then how will we represent this? So with the help of a rectangle, uh, we can indicate this entity. So for example, in a school database, suppose we are going to prepare the school database, then students, teachers, classes, and courses offered can be treated as entities. Okay. So if we are dealing with some other problem, then accordingly we can separate all such type of entities from a particular project, okay, on which we are working. So here just we are considering the database of the school. Then of course there is the involvement of different students, teachers, classes, courses, etc. Okay. Now here we can see entity type versus entity instances. So there are number of examples of the entity here. So it is a collection of entities that share common properties or characteristics. So there are number of we can say properties or the characteristics of a particular item. Then it is called the entity. So it is a collection of entities. Now you can see in this example student. Okay, it is the entity, class, again professor, again it is an entity. So we can say the one of the example we can choose from here is a single occurrence of an entity type. So this is the entity type. So we can choose the student, and here we can indicate this in the form of the rectangle. So entity ER diagram. Suppose we are going to draw the ER diagram for a particular, we can say example, okay, database. Then there are number of we can say involvement of the shapes here, rectangular shape or diamond shape. Okay, just like we have already studied during the whenever we are going to draw the flow chart, then there is an involvement of a spatial we can say the symbols. Okay, so here again in case of the ER diagram, it is related to the database management system, and whenever we are going to draw this, then again we will use some spatial symbols. So here the rectangular shape shows the entity type. Okay, so entities should always be placed in a rectangle. Now these are various examples. Now what is the entity set? And entity set, here you can see it is a collection of different type of entities called the entity set. Okay, so collection, just we have already seen here, student, class, okay, teacher, like this, and also related to the student, then you can say the class or the roll number, address. So there are number of involvement of the entity related to the student. So this is called the entity set. Okay, collection of related types of entities. An entity set may include entities with attribute, okay, sharing similar values. For example, a student set may contain all the students of a school. Okay, so entity set for a student means we can consider students of a school, and also there is the involvement of the teachers of a school. So another entity we can form for the, and then attributes. Attributes means it is a complete set, entity set, that is the data related to the teacher or the data related to the students. Okay, then it is called the entity set. Here we can see employee. Okay, this is again the entity, department again entity, and how we are going to create the relationship, then here we can see. So works for, now you can see this is a diamond shape symbol. okay, a special symbol in the form of the diamond shape, then it provides the connectivity or the interface between the employee and the department. How the employee is connected to his or her department, then this diamond shaped structure or the symbol will indicate the relationship. So entity, and with the help of the entity, we can create the relationship among various entities here. So works for, okay, then this indicates the relationship. This diagram here we can see this special symbol indicate the relationship. So this is entity, and entity set, we can say the information related to this employee, okay, employee name, employee ID, okay, employee, we can say other information, a mobile number, address, like this. So the different, we can say the entity set for this employee, we can again divide into number of items, okay, that is called the attributes for this particular employee. Similarly, the department, another entity, and department here, you can say it is generalized form, and then it is called the entity, and entity set, then there are number of different items related to the department, so we can form a collection, then it is called the entity set for the department, okay. And how these entities have the relationship between each other or among each other, then we can interface here with the help of the relationship symbol. So this is diamond shape is called the relationship between the entities, okay. Now here we can see the different attributes. Attributes here we can say entities are denoted utilizing their properties. So each entity have some properties, and those properties or the characteristics are known as attributes. Okay. So entities, we can say, have a number of attributes. So for example, a student entity may have name, okay, class, age as attributes. Similarly, for an employee, you can count a number of, we can say, items related to the employee, similarly related to the complete information related to the student, then it is called the attributes. So those items uh, which is describing completely to the student, okay. Similarly, the number of information which is related to the employee, so then these are called the characteristics or the attributes. Now here you can see one of the example for the student here. A student is a entity here, okay, and these are different attributes. So attributes related to the student means student name, okay, roll number, you can say ID number here. You can also use the unique identity here. So this is the identity ID number, and then the age, okay, address here. So we can say this entity means the student entity have different number of attributes. Okay. So this is the characteristics of a particular entity here. So these are called the, if we will combine all these name, address, age, ID number, then this will form a what entity set. Okay, and these are called the attributes. So name, attributes, ID number, age, address. So these are called the attributes, and we will combine name, comma, address, comma, age, comma, ID number, okay, in a curly braces, then we can say entity set. Okay, so this rectangular shape indicating entity, please remember this. Okay, so this is called the entity, and these are called the attributes: name, address, ID number, age. These are called the attributes, and if we will combine all these attributes separated by comma in a brackets, okay, then this will form a set, that is called the entity set. So we can write any related information for a particular entity, maybe a student, maybe college, or etc. There are several items, so that we can collect the different information, and each and every item related to a particular entity, then call the attributes or the characteristics or the property. So there are several types of attributes, or we can say sometimes characteristics. Okay, so types of attributes here you can see the key attribute number one, okay, composite attribute, single valued attribute, multi-valued attribute, derived attribute. So here you can see at number one, okay, key attribute. Key attribute here we can say that any suppose you are using particular ID number for a entity, okay, then it will come under the key attributes, uniquely defined. Okay, if you are going to define uniquely, that comes under the primary key. You can also call the primary key, then it comes under the key attributes, means ID number. Okay, you can also treat your enrollment number as a key attribute. Okay, because it is one of the unique number. Similarly, the roll number, we are not going to repeat the roll number again in the class. Okay, so if it is repeating, then again there is a change in the batch. So maybe suppose 18 DPC something or 19 DPC. So we can repeat the roll number, but again there is a change in the year. Okay, the first letter here 18 DPC or 19 DPC, 20 DPC. So it is unique one. So it will come under the key attributes. So this is one of the example. We can treat the unique ID, either the ID number on your ID card, or we can say the roll number, or we can say the enrollment number. So these are the we can say primary key, acts as a primary key, unique numbers. So these are called the key attribute. So similarly, the composite attribute, another type. Composite here, I will give you the example for this combined attribute. This is called the, and single value, only single value. Those have on the attribute. Those have only one value. Multi-value. Those have only several values. Okay. Now I will give you the example for each and every one, from key attribute to derived attribute. Derived attribute, just I am telling you. Suppose we can say the address. Address. So then again you can divide the address into number of different. We can say the attributes. Okay, because address means the street number or any colony number or house number, okay, etc. So we can say drive, or we can also consider the example of the date of birth, age. Okay, so we have also consider the date of birth. It is a unique identity for a particular person, but on the same day there are number of persons, they have the same date of birth. But the about, we can say, the drive data attributes, then from the date of birth, the another attributes that is called the drive attribute, that is the age. Okay, suppose we are indicating the date of birth as an attribute, but drive attribute means just we are concluding from the date of birth the age. Okay, we are going to calculate the age of a particular person or a student or the employee, anybody else, then the age is called the derived attributes. Okay, now we are going to consider the example and elaborating each and every term, that is the key attribute. So key is an attribute or collection of attributes that uniquely identifies, as I told you, that uniquely identifies an entity among the entity set. Okay, so there are several entity set, and we are going to uniquely identify. So for example, the roll number, just I already given the example, the roll number of a student makes him identifiable among students. So it is easy to search. Okay, similarly, the enrollment number, that is also the unique number, even for a university. Even though the here we are using the unique number as a roll number, and also the enrollment number, it is the unique number. Similarly, the security number among the various, you can say, the employees social security number, that is called issued in foreign countries. So each and every employee have the social security number. So that is also the unique one, and that will come under this. That is the key attribute. Okay. Yeah. Now you can identify here the key attribute roll number. Here we are using as a one of the example. Now you can consider here student, and now student, it is in the rectangle shape. We can call the student as a attribute here. Was sorry, this is called the, what is this, entity. Okay, here. So rectangular shape here is entity. Okay, now these are the different attributes here. We can see roll number, because this there are different items which is related to this entity. Is here entity is, we can we are going to place in the rectangular shape here. So this is called the entity. So this symbol is called the entity here, student. And now these are called the attributes for a particular entity: roll number, name, age, address. Okay, even though we can elaborate more, maybe some other items related to the students, various items. Okay, we can increase. So these are not fixed attributes: roll number, name, age, address. Okay, you can also increase. It will depend on the user. Okay, what type of table he is going to form, and on what type of data he is working. Then he can choose a number of attributes as per requirement. Okay, so these are not fixed one. It is not necessary just you are going to remember only few items here. So no need to remember such type of. It is for example, and it is up to you. You can enhance, you can increase the number of attributes here, and it will depend on the data that is available to you. Okay. Now here you can see there are other types of keys, many other types of keys here: super key, candidate key, primary key. Okay, so there are number of keys, and here just uh, I am telling about the key attributes. So under the key attributes, you can consider the super key, candidate key, primary key. So what is the super key? A set of attributes that collectively identified the entity in the entity set. So we have an entity set, and an entity set have a number of, or we can say collection of the entities. So there are number of entities, that is called the entity set. Okay, a set of attributes that collectively identifies. Okay, so there are a set of entity. Suppose just I am giving you examples of the college or your university polytechnic, and we can say that the college name or the university polytechnic will act as a super key, because it consists of a number of entities. Entity means here we can consider the employee and students and other. There is a lot of involvement of the items here. Then we can call the university polytechnic as a super key here. Okay, so a set of attributes. So it is a collection of the different number of attributes that collectively identifies an entity. Okay, so there are several attributes here. So in the entity set, so first we can form the entity set, and after that collectively which one is identifying. So that is called the super key. Candidate key, a minimal super key is a known as candidate key here. An entity set may have more than one candidate key. Okay, we have the entity set, and entity set consists of a number of entities. Okay, suppose just I am giving you an example of the university polytechnic. Okay, here it is a entity set, we can say. An entity set, it consists of a other you can say entities inside that, and have more than one candidate key. So it may have the if we are considering as an entity to university polytechnic, so it may have more than one candidate key. Okay, so we are going to combine several, we can say, the groups. Okay, and over each group there is a candidate key. Okay, and overall there is a number of candidate key, and overall there is a super key. Now come to the primary key. A primary key is one of the candidate keys. Okay, again we are going to consider the unique identification. A primary key is one of the candidate keys chosen by the database designer to uniquely identify the entity set. Okay, so we have again the entity set and how we are going to choose a particular database, and in that database just we are going to consider the unique data. Okay, so that we can identify. So that is called the primary key. So suppose we have the entity as a student, then we can consider the roll number or the enrollment number as the primary key. So this is indicating the unique identification among the various students. Now the
सर
yes, yes,
सर इंडेक्स की क्या होता है सर?
pardon,
इंडेक्स की सर?
index key.
यस सर.
Index key I am telling you, and just I am not here considering the index key, but just I am telling here the different types of keys. Okay, so further this word may come. Okay, suppose just we are going to consider index key means here we cannot say it will come under the primary key or the super key or the candidate key. Suppose we have a table, and over that we are using the serial number. Suppose in that particular table we are considering one of the we can say the entity as a serial number. Okay, and for which we are going to count a number of items. So it will provide you either the increasing or decreasing order. So we can consider as a index, okay, for a particular item. So it is different than these sets of the keys. Uh, I will tell you some related example if it will come in the next. Okay. So number two, the composite attributes here. An attribute that is a combination of other attributes. An attribute that is a combination of other attributes is called a composite. So in this case, we have the combination. Okay. Suppose we have one attribute, and if we will enhance that particular attributes, then it may have more than one attribute. Okay, suppose we have one attribute, again we can divide it into a number of attributes, then it is called the composite attributes. Now, for example, here you can see student, okay, student, and then address. So here you can see address, and again we are going to divide this address as pin, state, country. So address will act as a composite attribute because it is combining the pin, state, country, or more. So this is the composite attribute. Okay, just it is related to the student. Okay, this attribute address is a composite because again we can elaborate this pin, state, country. So whenever we will combine these three or more, then it form the address. So this is called the composite attribute. That's why an attribute that is a combination of other attributes. So it is a combination of other attributes. It's called the composite attribute here. So single valued attribute here. So single valued attribute contain a single value. Okay. Single value means unique value. For example, social security number, it is single value. Okay. Roll number, again single value attribute. Just I am telling only about the roll number. We are not we cannot divide the roll number again to different number of attributes. Okay, just like the address we can divide into different number of attributes again. That is then that's why address is called the composite attribute. But single valued attribute we cannot divide further into number of attributes here. So your roll number, similarly enrollment number, Similarly, social security number, we cannot divide further. So these are called the single valued attribute. Now multi-valued, we can divide attribute into number of, again, number of attributes. So if an attribute can have more than one value, if it has more than one value, it is known as multi-valued attribute. Multi-valued attributes are depicted by the double ellipse. Okay, so how we can indicate whenever we are going to draw the ER diagram, then double ellipse. Okay, double ellipse will indicate the multi-valued attributes. For example, a person can have more than one phone number. Okay, more than one phone number, email address, then it is called the multi-valued attribute. Here, this you can see here the phone number. Okay, similarly email ID. Just I am considering only one here, one item, one attribute, which we are going to divide further. Okay, so derived attributes here. One of the example for the derived attribute, you can see here attribute that does not exist in the physical database. Okay, it is not existing in the physical database, but their values are derived from other attributes present in the database. Okay, for example, age. Just I have give you the example of the uh, date of birth. Okay, age. So for example, age can be derived from the date of birth. So we are not considering the item age, but we are considering the this attribute date of birth. Okay, we are not talking about the age, but we can calculate the age. So we can say the age can be derived from the date of birth. If we know the date of birth, then we can calculate the age also. Okay, so this comes under the derived attribute. Okay, so we can derive this. Now this is one of the example. Okay, here age. Similarly, I have already given the example for the phone number for the multi-valued attribute here, and derived attribute. We are not considering at all the age, but we are considering only the date of birth as an attribute. But we can consider the age also. We can calculate the age also. Now this is the complete diagram here. We can say ER diagram. This is called the ER diagram, and it is showing all the related attributes to the students here. So the complete entity type is student with its attributes. So these are here we can say this is the entity student. So we can draw the diagram, ER diagram for a particular database. So a student here acts as an entity in the rectangular shape here, and these are the different attributes in the here ellipse shape. Okay, and double here we can see phone number. What is this? Now tell me.
Multi-valued.
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 What about the age?
Yeah, derived.
Derived.
Derived. Okay. So if it is in this shape, so this is the derived. We can say. And what is this? Double circle ellipse. Double
Multi-valued.
multi-value. Okay. So this is the here we can say this is the ellipse, but in form of the double ellipse we can say. So these are the different attributes for this particular entity. Similarly, another here you can say again this is the attribute for this entity student. Okay, so again we are going to divide into a number of different attributes. So country, state, city, a street here. So this is the complete, we can say the ER diagram for the student. Now the relationship, as we are going to combine more than one, we can say the entities, then we can say it is going to form the relationship. The association among entities is known as the relationship. Okay, relationship are represented by the diamond shape. Okay, so at very starting we have already seen the relationship uh, between the employee and the department. Okay, then that diamond shape works is called the, we can say, relationship. It shows relationship. Now here again we can considering one of the example teacher student. Okay, so this is Here teacher, entity, and this is again entity, and it may have a number of attributes. Student, similarly the teacher may have a number of attributes, and this is diamond shape box is called the here showing relationship. Okay, so teacher teaches to student, then this shows or indicates the relationship. So relationship in ER diagram, entity relationship diagram. So this is the one of the complete form we can say, and here you can consider this is one of the here example for the entity diagram. Now you can see this is student, and here we can say this is indicating entity. Again, rectangular shape, you can say these are the various entities, and this is the diamond shape. Okay, so this is indicating relationship. Okay, a student and class. So it have the relationship enrollment in a particular class. Okay, a student enrolls in any class. So this is indicating relationship. Similarly, here you can say again the relation between the professor and the class. Classes are taught by professors. So teach, so relationship again. Now here you can see professor teach class. So so this is the ER diagram. Okay. So any query, please. I am going to take your attendance now.
इस बार का सर असाइनमेंट बहुत टफ लग रहा है सर।
Pardon? कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?